I wanted to ask you both about what seems like an early operations and structural choice for Momento. I was going through your website, and one of the things that stood out to me was that of all of the information on your website, like there's the core mission statement of the company, and about a third of the information on the website are things like connecting people to a GitHub document, defining your values and your norms of distributed work and team processes and how you all work together. And to me, that seems like what I hear from a lot of smaller teams and smaller companies is, oh, we don't have time to figure those things out. Like, we just need to move fast. We need to build things. And so I just thought this was really, really interesting because even it was down to like you prioritize physical and mental health. And so I was super curious about like, why did you optimize for defining things like values, norms of distributed work, and team processes at such an early stage? And what do you have to say to teams maybe that are smaller who quote unquote don't have the time to do those types of things?
These are the drills, right? These are the drills you got to do to lay that solid foundation. I think the other piece, sorry, Daniel, like a lot of companies have like an HR person do this or an outside consulting firm, like a marketing firm, write this. Like I think a little unknown thing about what you see on the website is we came up with those values. We spent a bunch of time writing, like Daniela wrote that entire doc, like completely by herself. It's not some external agency that wrote our cultural values. And we spent a lot of time debating what the values ought to be. And it's that foundation without which, you're not, you can move really, really fast, but if you don't have a direction, you're not going to get anywhere. You may just get lucky.
Yeah, and I sort of learned this a bit through my time at Lightstep, the previous startup I was with. I joined as a very early employee. I think I was number 9 and number 10 employee, and then also transitioned from IC into management throughout my 4 years there, and we grew a bunch to over 100 people. And in that process, you really watch the company values and the company culture shift. And the one thing to remember is that culture is intangible. It's not something even as co-founders, we can't just walk in one day and say, "Oh, here's the new culture, engineering company." Like it's formed sort of naturally, organically by the people that are there. So, and I don't think it's always necessary to write it down, but at least talk about it, get aligned, make sure you're sort of representing and exemplifying those values. So for me, the best way to remember that is to actually write it down, present it to the team, which we did, and keep ourselves accountable by writing it down, by putting it on our website. People will ask us about it, remind us about it. So, you asking us about that and others asking us about that reminds us that we did write them down and we committed to them. And I think the common theme here is that Khawaja and I have a lot of pride in the team that we've handcrafted, and we will continue to handcraft and recruit one by one. And by building that solid foundation, not technical foundation, but sort of more on the personnel side, it makes the culture very, very scalable, in my opinion, because everybody we've recruited thus far is aligned to those, and a lot of them I think are attracted to our company because of them. So we believe that they will continue to propagate these values forward, and even as the company grows bigger, our hope is that we stick to these. And I think the part of the appeal again of co-founding a company is that you get to craft something like this, and that we're held accountable, and that we're accountable to our team, and that we're proud of the team of people we put together. Um, so it's actually, I think I did it within my first 2 weeks of joining the company, and sort of just a living document that we hope to continue evolving.
I love it. I'm a total culture nut. So as soon as I see like a small group of people lead values first and spend a lot of thoughtful time putting that together and having that be a thing that sets the foundation for the culture. And I love what you shared about like it's almost like defining the people operating system in a way for like how we all work and behave together. And the things that accelerates as a result when you have those things explicit and defined, when you are working with a small group of people and then you bring in new strangers to contribute to the mission, how easy it is to then have them get involved and get plugged in and expand that culture and the impact of the organization. So I saw that. I thought that was really cool, and I thought it was definitely a very it seemed very intentional to have that be one of like the first 3 things on the website to share. So just want to share my admiration for that.
No, we appreciate that. I think the other thing I'll say is for startups who believe that they don't have the time for this, there's a little anecdote that helps us a lot, which is you're never going to be less busy than you are today.
Hmm.
So as you grow in the startup, things are only going to get busier, and it's only going to be harder for you to find the time to build those values.
You're never going to be busier than you are today. That's probably going to have to go on the whiteboard now, Khawaja, as a reminder.